This worker had a real ligament tear in his elbow. The MRI proved it. The orthopedic surgeon agreed. The treatment plan made sense. So why did the claim keep growing after the injury started to heal? Because eventually the injury stopped being the biggest problem. Participation became the biggest problem. Today, I'm going to show you what I call the recovery participation gap and why some claims continue long after the pathology starts improving. I'm Dr. Leslie Cadet, an occupational and environmental medicine physician and the founder of Ascend Occupational Medicine Consulting, where we help self-insured employers lower their work comp costs through medical oversight that works. Now, this story actually began with a legitimate injury. 25-year-old hospital custodian who was lifting a heavy machine and immediately developed elbow pain. The MRI confirmed a ligament tear. Orthopedics got involved. He received a brace. We prescribed medications and we recommended occupational therapy. He was placed on work restrictions. In other words, we believed him because he was truly injured. And for a while, the story made perfect sense. But then things started changing. Before we go further, I need to introduce a concept I call the recovery participation gap. This gap is the distance between the treatment available and the treatment the worker actually participates in. The wider the gap becomes, the harder recovery becomes to evaluate. And that's exactly what happened here. So, months later, his elbow is improving. Repeat imaging shows the ligament had healed and scarred down. This is good news, right? Well, not exactly, because now came shoulder pain. He believed the brace had altered his movement and caused problems in his shoulder. Okay, plausible. But then came the neck pain and numbness in all 5 fingers and sweating in the palm and symptoms that really didn't fit the initial injury, especially 3 months later. And here's what made it strange. His symptoms were getting worse even though he wasn't working because his restrictions couldn't be accommodated by the employer. Then he requested a sling, which didn't make much sense because he had just told us that restricting his arm with the brace is what caused the shoulder pain in the first place. He reported medication side effects throughout the journey and admitted that he really was not taking the medications, but he still requested refills. And then here comes the biggest surprise. He sent us a message saying that he was abusing his pain medications and mixing them with alcohol and wanted to be admitted to inpatient rehab. So we acted immediately. We referred him to psychology, but he never scheduled the appointments. To address his worsening complaints, we ordered additional studies. The shoulder MRI came back normal. There's no structural damage. The nerve studies we ordered were normal. There's no evidence of nerve injury. The repeat MRI of the elbow was never completed because of claustrophobia, which was interesting because he had already completed 2 MRIs earlier in the claim without any complaints. And then he began missing his follow-up appointments, canceling, rescheduling, disappearing. And that's when the question changed, because sometimes the question isn't, what injury do we have? Sometimes the question becomes, is the worker meaningfully participating in his own recovery? Because if someone won't complete the treatment, won't complete the testing, won't attend the appointments, and the objective studies stop supporting that there's an ongoing injury, eventually the narrative changes. At his next appointment, he was returned to full duty and discharged. Respectfully, we had no objective evidence of an ongoing injury, and medicine cannot treat a condition that evidence no longer supports. So here's the lesson for employers. Not every prolonged claim represents a prolonged injury. Sometimes recovery stalls because the pathology remains, but sometimes recovery stalls because participation disappears. And if nobody is asking which one you're dealing with, the claim is going to drift. And drift is extremely expensive. Like, subscribe, and comment if these case breakdowns help you understand how claims actually escalate. Register for our upcoming webinar. The problem isn't the injury, it's the lack of medical oversight. how employers are preventing high-cost claims before they spiral. And if you're an employer or a risk leader trying to make smarter decisions earlier in the life cycle of the claim, book a call with us to see how our medical governance program can help your self-insured program.